Hi, welcome to Lasers, Dragons, and Keyboards. I'm Aaron DeMott.
I'm Liberty Hart.
And I'm Josh Hart.
Uh, t-
And go ahead.
Today, we are happy to have on the show Gretchen E K Engel. Um,
Who apparently we're all introducing.
apparently.
Apparently.
Back in the day, Gretchen enjoyed penning her English teacher's favorite essays as much as earning highest marks in physics. But science won over the arts, and Gretchen pursued a career as a chemical engineer. Her love of the written word was not neglected, as she authored hundreds of technical documents, including such riveting works as spill prevention, controls and countermeasure plans, and
Ooh.
stormwater pollution prevention plans. She lives in Tucson with her husband, her daughter, aka Young Realmie, and her extroverted tuxedo cat, plus a college age son that lives just across town. Ms. Engel also enjoys playing tennis, biking, hiking, traveling, or lying on a pool float doing nothing. An environmental consultant by day and speculative fiction writer by night, Gretchen researches STEM characters in a professional setting and gets paid to do it. She has published short stories in anthologies and magazines. Her manuscript, The Barber Surgeon, won the ACFW Genesis Award for speculative fiction. Gretchen is also LDK's number one fangirl, so we are very pleased to
Yes.
have you on the show today, Gretchen. Welcome.
Welcome,
Thank you.
Gretchen.
I'm glad to be
Hello.
here. Been a fan from episode one. So
You have.
Yep, it is true. So, Josh, do you want to hit off with the questions first?
Yep. First, to our longtime listeners and watchers, you might be able to see I have changed my background, and Gretchen is right there in the center of a picture from Realm Makers. Um, and most of the others either are podcast hosts or have been on LDK. We have Josh Smith, Jason Joyner, Gretchen, of course, JJ, and some Yahoo. Um, so, uh,
It's a lot of
we
J
like to,
names.
yes, we like to start off, Gretchen, with what is your name? What is your quest? And what is your favorite color?
I am Gretchen E K Engel, a different kind of geek. My quest is to evangelize for short form fiction and green, all shades of green from hunter to lime, which are my favorites. But I do like to wear peacock blue, but that's just because it's flattering on me.
Okay.
I love green as well, but I tend to wear a lot of pink and red because of the same reason.
As long as it's not
Of
that
course.
nasty avocado green from the 70s.
I love that. I grew up in an avocado greenhouse, so I
Yeah, we had a bunch of
actually it was
avocado
like
green stuff too, and it's never grown
yeah,
on me.
it was funny, like, growing up in the 70s and 80s, it was sort of like it was almost like a political thing. It was like your harvest gold or your, burnt orange, brown, or, avocado. Although in the Tupperware thing, we had those 4 colors in our Tupperware cups, and I was dark brown because chocolate brown's another color I like.
We grew
So
up poor in the 80s, so we had all four of those shades in the house.
oh, there you go. Yeah, yeah.
They don't go
Yep.
together.
No, but I bet that washing machine still works.
Probably.
Our avocado green dryer just died last year.
Aw.
Yeah, yeah. We've gone through 3 and 25 years of marriage, so there's that.
Okay. So, Aaron, go ahead and take it away next.
Oh, we're just going down through the list, or are we going random? Yeah.
Let's go random.
Ooh. Random.
Uh-oh. You gave him too much power.
Coffee, tea, or other?
Yes. So I consider myself a coffee drinker, but the truth is that I am every much bit as much a tea drinker. And if I actually had to choose, I would probably pick tea only because of the versatility, which so for Veterans Day, my daughter, we have Tucson Tea Company. I've been dying to go there for like 2 years since before we moved there. And so we actually went and bought a couple herbal teas. And so I was drinking that one. It was one of the purple ones that change color.
Oh, cool.
And plus I like Earl Grey and hot and black. No, well, actually I like it with cream and sugar. and black tea, but I love coffee, and I have like 4 different kinds of coffee makers, and I like espresso drinks and latte. A latte with a little bit of cream and sugar is my favorite drink. So yeah, yes is the answer.
Okay.
Coffee would be really good if it tasted like it smelled.
I agree
There's a
with you,
lot of
Aaron.
truth to that. And I have to say, the Costco fresh ground, especially if you do it like in an AeroPress or something like that, where it's a little bit more of an espresso drink, it's pretty close, especially if you put the right
Hmm.
amount of milk and a little bit of sugar in it. You can get pretty close.
I was
That's
going to
Definitely
say,
that
I
fresh
think
bean
that's why all
taste.
the coffee drinkers like the milk and sugar. Like, oh, let's
Yeah.
cover up that bitter.
Yeah,
yeah.
it takes the edge off. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely the coffee that I'm actually drinking today. But I definitely will admit, yeah, I still have my flavored Torani and sugar free now. But
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, I
that,
was.
I can't do sugar bomb flavored those liquid desserts. I mean, there is one. No, there is one that's this caramel macchiato thing I get when I go to Barnes and Noble with my friends,
yeah,
like one of their staff picks. That
hmm
thing's
Okay.
ridiculous, but that's
yeah,
like once a month at
yeah.
most. Yeah.
That's like a dessert in a drink in a drink.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I approach it like that.
yeah, definitely. So
But this is
Gretchen,
just good old Tucson water, which actually isn't as bad as it sounds.
Hmm, okay. Yeah, I
that
was going to make
word.
some tea this morning and I didn't get around to it, so.
Well, after party, I guess, is when you're gonna make it, Aaron.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
So, so Gretchen, why don't you tell us about your latest projects? I know you're more of a short fiction aficionado, but what are you working on right now?
Yeah. So, well, what I'm working on is actually trying to polish my manuscript, The Barber Surgeon, that won in 2018. I've
Mm-hmm.
um had, a couple of professional critiques, and just a matter of just changing around some scenes and so forth. But it's just that 95 to 99, 100% that is just so hard.
Mm-hmm.
But my latest release was actually earlier this year. I had the story Aqua Vitae, which was published in the Havoc anthology. And that project just, it means so much to me. It's my hero's origin story.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, yeah, so that one, Preston's story and getting to tell his origin story, which was originally a prologue and now it's a flash fiction. And it just, well, so if any of you have ever submitted to Havoc and have ever had Andrew Lynch um, edit one, he can be brutal. And he had
I
like 2
Mhm.
comments
oh
and
Oh,
wow.
nothing but
wow.
good things to say. So it was solid. And that just like to get a like barely read edit from Andrew was just like that was winning. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
yeah, yeah.
That
I
is
love it.
pretty
But
cool.
Hmm.
yeah.
And that
Yeah.
is that anthology still available then?
Yeah, yeah. So you could get it your usual, link. So it's the Havoc Legendary Anthology.
Okay.
And yeah, you'll hear me. I'll probably talk a lot about Havoc because I'm a big short fiction and flash fiction fan. So yeah. And it's what fits into my writing time these days. So
Hmm.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
definitely understand that. So,
Yeah. I mean, you just have to make the time to write as you can,
Yeah,
because real life likes to intrude.
it
So,
does.
um,
Boo to real life.
so, so speaking of that, what does your family think about your writing?
I think in the beginning it was kind of hard because I was just so all into it, but now it's sort of like they're supportive for sure. And my parents and like extended family are like super, super like well, we were just talking about this. It's kind of a segue. I'm the cover model for Liberty's books. And so my
oh,
dad was like, hey, I need a copy. So they're actually out of print. And so yeah. So Liberty had copies of all of them. And so I bought some to send to my dad. And my
yeah, they
mom buys my
Yeah.
anthologies and gives him his gifts. And my grandpa was really proud of it. We lost him in 2020, but he was in his 90s and so
yeah,
forth. So and then I mean, my husband is like super supportive. So I didn't want to, or my kids too, and my daughter. So as we discussed, Young Realmie, she's actually gone to Realmaker. She did virtual 2020, and then she's been with me every year. We both missed a 2022, and unfortunately, it's going to be her senior year next year, and to get to Grand Rapids right before marching band season, as she's a senior drum major,
Oh
probably not
Oh,
going to
no.
happen
Yeah.
next year.
oh,
So,
bummer.
but yeah, so she goes to Realm Makers with me. She's very creative, more of a musician and artist, and but she does some writing. And then my son, I mean, yeah, they're like, yeah, it's just what mom does. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I don't. Were you saying that my book was out of print because it shouldn't have been?
Oh, maybe it wasn't. I think that, I can't remember. Anyway, I
I got it
long
for
story short, I bought them from you. So yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I got him.
yeah.
I got him out to them. So I'm like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
wait a
For some reason,
second.
I don't remember, but maybe it was just a matter of like, you're like, hey, I got some copies, and yeah.
Yeah, I think it was
So
more.
sorry if I had some false facts from Legacy Media there.
So, uh, so Aaron,
Oh, let's see. What looks fun here? What's your favorite book? Well, we kind
My
of talked
favorite
about
book.
that.
Okay, so this is funny. I was laughing about this. I actually had some like cheat sheet notes, and so my favorite book is Atlas Shrugged. And I was joking that like almost all the answers to the questions involved Ayn Rand or Atlas Shrugged. But yeah, and it's funny because she was an atheist, but the story of Dagny Taggart and Hank Reardon, the two main characters, it is actually a faith journey, and it parallels somebody's like coming to Christ, except for them, it's coming to John Galton objectivism. But yeah, and
Hmm.
Mhm.
um, yeah, I was just gonna say, I actually have, there's this quote, and it is like 100% true about me. Um, there are two novels that can, this is where I'm gonna actually have to read from my notes here. There are two novels that can change a bookish 14-year-old's life: The Lord of the Rings and Atlas Shrugged. One is a childish fantasy that often engenders a lifelong obsession with its unbelievable heroes, leading to an emotionally stunted, socially crippled adulthood, unable to deal with the real world. The other, of course, involves orcs. I did read
Nice.
Atlas Shrugged at 14. I mean, the whole like repercussions totally not true. I am like just not fact, but I
Uh huh.
love that
Sure,
quote
sure.
because it cracks me up. Because yes, I was that 14-year-old reading Atlas Shrugged, totally going to be Dagny Taggart. So, but I mean, I did become an engineer,
Mhm.
so there is
Yeah.
that,
Well,
and
you
she
know
was
my
kind of an inspiration for me growing up. So,
my daughter read of her own volition. This wasn't even assigned to her by me or by her school. She read it 1984 at 14. So,
Yep.
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
smart
So,
smart kids read good books
Yeah,
at a young
that's a
age.
book that everybody should read once.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I read
yeah.
it, I think, just after college. My husband and I had this whole thing where we actually reread Atlas Shrugged. I think it was his second time, or no, it was my second time.
mhm.
And we were dating, we had a long distance relationship, and we read 1984, Atlas Shrugged, several other books. And we actually had these different topics we covered on our calls.
Aw.
And one of them was a little book club thing of how we were discussing as we read along books together. So
That is actually really
That's
memory
cute.
from
neat.
a few
Yeah.
years ago.
That is.
That is really cute. um, so do you have a favorite character from any of your projects?
Oh, Preston from
Kristen?
Aquavitae. He is
Okay.
absolutely, I don't know, it's funny because so my husband, so the story of Preston is that he's was paralyzed in a car accident and then given the ability to walk again. But he's still paralyzed. It's
Mhm.
specifically that he he it's temporary. And so self-reliance is not a virtue because he has to, spoiler alert for the story, but take Aquavitae. And so, and he tries to rely on his own. And so it's just, he actually inspired me to run distance. So I hated running, did never
Oh.
wanted to run. Wrote the Preston character who worships through running when he's given the ability to walk again. And I actually ran 3 half marathons after that. So,
Aw.
and got addicted to
Wow.
Wow.
running because of a fictional character I created. So,
That is
and he's sort
incredible.
of, but it's funny. My husband's like, "So do you write characters based on me?" And I'm like, I told him, I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "That's." I told him, I said, "Oh yeah, he was in a paralyzed in the car accident that killed his sister. And my husband's like, that's dark. And so, yeah, I was like, no, Preston is like nothing. He's nothing like anybody I know. He's completely like 100% fiction. And as a matter of fact, there was a couple of things that like Venn diagrammed with, I mean, because you can only do so many hair, eye color, situation, whatever.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I hope nobody thinks that he's related to somebody that I actually know, because no, he's completely 100% fiction.
You
Yep.
just put that standard disclaimer in the front of the story, and
Yeah, I was, a matter of fact, wanting to like change details when I thought he lined up too much to like person or Y person. And yeah.
Um, I'll just say minor spoilers. We won't have that disclaimer at the beginning of our novel.
oh,
Um,
Okay, I'm curious to see who you spill the tea on then.
so, um, so you mentioned a little bit that you've had Andrew Winch do your editing on at least one project. Do you normally do your own? What's your process?
So I mostly self-edit. So I'm gonna like plug a couple people I had. Grace Bridges originally, and I don't know if she's as active in editing and so forth, but she did like she's really a low cost if you just want somebody to just do like a really quick pass through of your novel and like just really like high level. She was fantastic. And then I also hired Janine Polito. I highly recommend her. I also did her editing and marketing courses, and her courses are just fantastic. She and I just vibe really well together.
hmm.
Mhm.
So I have hired a couple of professionals, plus I have really good critique partners. And early on, that's the other thing. Get into a critique group if you're an early starting author. Get into a critique group, and iron sharpens iron. Get several of you that are in about the same spot, and you just get to be a better author. I did it through ACFW critique group,
Yep.
but Realmakers offers it. Others, just get 3 or 4 people. Make sure you have good chemistry, and that's nothing else I think is really important. And then now I'm kind of more, self-edit myself, and then would pay somebody to do a pass, and then obviously would pay for all that if I went indie. But
Mhm.
you really need to have a professional edit if you really want to compete in traditional publishing. So, I mean, it's
Hmm.
not pay to play, but it is, you need to be at that level. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
That's true.
highly recommend it. And there's a lot of ways you can do it that I've done this on a shoestring. And
Mhm.
so, yeah. Um, and
And I mean, it,
but
we could always put up a list of editors that we
Mhm.
know,
yeah,
and we know a lot.
yeah.
Yep.
So take
Yep.
it
The
And the
away,
other
frust-
one
Liberty.
is,
the
Oh,
frustrating thing though is when you get a professional editor and you have your beta readers read it and your friends read it, and then you press the publish button, and then you find a typo. It's like, how? How did that sneak through all those different levels?
I've had it
I
happen.
yeah.
I've seen it in, big five publishers books too.
Yep.
So,
It always makes me feel better when you find a professional big five like book with a typo. It's like, oh, good. It's not just me.
That's
Oh,
yeah.
I've
right.
seen it. I've seen shoot and shoot, like laundry shoot. It was supposed to be laundry shoot, but it was
Mhm.
SHOOT. I have seen what was the other one? Oh, palette. Like, like the palette,
Yeah.
like the roof of your mouth spelled like the thing you put paint on. So yeah, I've seen a lot of the homonym um edit,
Mhm.
and those are in like major,
Oh
published
yeah.
Mhm.
books. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It
Oh yeah.
happens.
Um, let's roll. Who is your captain?
Oh, I get to tell my best baby gift ever story.
Uh
Oh,
oh.
So let me see. I got my notes here on this. So okay, so Mal from Firefly. So
okay.
young Realmie's name is Zoe.
Mhm.
And that ended up being a very fortuitous pick because my husband had this young engineer working with him. I think he might even been an intern. And he gave my husband a DVD box set of Firefly. He says, "Oh, you named your daughter Zoe. This book has this TV series has a character named Zoe." And it was like, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, and yes.
Yeah.
So that's how we discovered Firefly, is because we got as a baby gift a box set of Firefly for our daughter Zoe.
Okay.
That is
That's
so
It is like
awesome.
geek, and we loved it. And yeah. So Mal's my captain. Brown coat forever.
nice. I love it.
Awesome.
I think you
Yeah.
also won an award for most unusual baby gift, but hey,
100.
maybe best
100.
friend too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one of Josh's daughters is Kaylee, but it's not spelled the same.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
So, Aaron?
Oh, let's see. Well, I'm trying to select a fun question here. Inadvertently, three of my kids have Star Trek names, so. Oh, here's a fun one.
Inadvertently? Oh, come on.
No, it's inadvertently, really.
Really? Okay. Okay.
Well, Catherine and yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not say all of the names.
My wife wouldn't let me go with Tiberius for the middle name for the boy. She
Aw.
shot that one down. I did pick another T name, though. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Here's a fun question. Which three authors would you sit down with for a monthly lunch? And you can't pick us.
I actually had, hold on, I gotta write, like, I remember.
I mean, you could, but you may need to slip me that 20 a little faster.
Wait, she gave you 20?
So
I
mine
got a
were,
rock.
no, I was joking. So
Well played.
I used to read Trivia Pursuit questions because I was that geek that was at home on Friday nights when everybody else was like in a football game. And so there's actually a Trivia Pursuit question where all the answers are 13, but you only know that if you're actually reading the cards versus
Mhm.
playing the game. And so mine, like I said, the whole Ayn Rand. So Ayn Rand is one of them. Ray Bradbury is another, and Lisa May Alcott. And so Ayn Rand, for obvious reasons that I love Atlas Shrugged, and just, I mean, I'd probably try to like witness to her and like, you know how you read that story about,
Mhm.
Dagny and Hank? Yeah, they needed Jesus, not John Galt. But I would love to have met her, Louisa May Alcott, because Little Women was my first. My grandmother read it to me. It was my first chapter book. I got it when I was like 7, and then Ray Bradbury, just because he had so much success as a short story writer. I mean, the story of the with the rainstorm on Venus, and that was like one of my. I remember as a little kid being one of my favorite short stories I read. Of course, Fahrenheit 451 is just a novella. Um, so yeah, so he's very much an inspiration to me. I think I could add a fourth because I can't stick to, I like even numbers and I can't stick to the actually answering the question directly. Add Edgar Allan Poe to that too, for the same reason, because he had so much success with short stories and poetry and
Oh, he was a
Oh,
creepy guy,
yeah.
though.
obviously long form fiction. And yet he's part of our American, lexicon, and same with, is that the right word? Whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
and Ray Bradbury, the just, all American authors that are household names that never really wrote long fiction. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
again, like I said, evangelizing for short fiction.
Mhm.
Well, of course.
So, yeah.
Uh, those are answers that I don't think we've heard.
No, nobody's
I
mentioned
can
Poe yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I had to because yeah, who doesn't want to meet Tolkien and C.S. Lewis? But I mean, come on, everybody says that. I got to be different.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
Definitely.
Now, don't die.
Sorry.
Mhm.
Last time we cloned you, it was very expensive. Uh,
Sorry.
let's, that's fine.
It
Uh,
happens.
so let's see.
Oh, I'm going to speak myself.
Um,
Insert your favorite mental soundtrack here while we
yes.
resurrect Gretchen.
Sorry. That, oh, man.
I hate it when
So
that
I would say I
happens.
would blame it on the bus crud from the band trip, and I actually rode a U-Haul with my husband.
Um,
And no, he's not sick.
which is good. So, how do you create your main characters? Do they just come to you? Uh, do you brainstorm?
Well, first you get a shovel, and then
Yeah.
no, wait, that's Frankenstein.
Oh, I was gonna say that was that's how you kill your darlings. You prepare the grave
Yes.
first. Um, no, so Melinda, my heroine in my heart project, she is the one who's sort of based on a true character, and that is that she's probably my Mary Sue character, but even she herself is very much different from me. Preston, I basically was like everything I idealized in a male kind of went with that. Um, and then my other characters, I mean, I think my first story I did take um, elements of like family members and kind of created stories loosely on them, but then they morphed into their own character. Otherwise, I'm just sort of like randomly kind of get a mental picture of what they look like. And I am so sorry. Um,
Today's episode
just
brought to you by
basically,
Halls.
I kind of get a mental image of what they look like and what their personality is, and then just go with it. I just mentally, like one of my characters, she's invisible, but she actually has a physical being. It's just that she actually like can't be seen because her skin is. It's sort of like in the Peretti book where the dragon is like reflective. That's sort of why her skin is.
Okay.
But she actually has like but those who can see her, she has like fair skin and lavender eyes and like
Mm,
light, like whitish, like purplish hair.
very
And
cool.
so, something like that. I mean, she's the only character I wrote that has kind of non-traditional coloring. And then I was just like, I knew Rosalind for my main character. She was going to be small with kind of probably what kind of thick, dark hair, maybe kind of wiry. She's very petite, and then I just sort of, my heroine in that or hero in that story, Stratton, I knew he had like olive skin and
Yeah.
Mhm,
I knew they both had hazel eyes and I knew that he had like dark blonde hair. And then that was in a society where the elite have green eyes. And so them having the hazel eyes, they were, muddy eyed. They were like a mixed
Hmm.
culture rather than race. But so, I knew that they had to have something that set them apart as being other because that was part of their story and how they didn't fit into society. And
mhm,
then others, it was just sort of like roll the dice. I mean, I do kind of have a lot of them take place in my Across the Fissure story world. And so from a certain continent, they have green eyes, a certain continent has blue, lavender, which is where I get, and some of the tribal people in various areas have lavender or purple eyes. Some of them have golden eyes, and some of them have brown.
mhm,
And even if they have a different, maybe different skin tone, different hair texture and color, eye color is sort of indicative of their continent of
mm,
origin. So, but otherwise, I just sort of like to play around with it. I have one character who's short and heavy. Others are tall and thin, and everything in between.
mhm.
And then personalities, I tend to like to write extroverts only because they're underrepresented, and I'm an extrovert. Um, and just
Underrepresented?
sort of
What?
whatever they just sort of come together, I
Those
guess.
darn extroverts rule the world, make us get up early and things.
Exactly.
I think I've figured out that I'm a closet extrovert,
You
so I
think?
definitely am starting to understand that.
Darn extroverts make us do
Yeah.
things like host podcasts.
You could
Yeah.
Yeah,
have
no,
said
I
no, but we're 9.5 years into this, so I think you're kind of out.
Would you have let me said no? No, she wouldn't.
Possibly.
Um, we'll never know.
But yeah, and then as
So,
far as personalities go, it's just sort of how it fits with what their
mhm,
struggle is and what they're, to accomplish and how that fits with
mhm,
personality type. And then I sort of kind of work backwards. Like if it doesn't work, that they're doing something. Usually that's where I get the feedback is they're doing something contrary to what their personality type would do. then that's kind of where I finesse
Hmm.
a story. But
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, they sort of create them.
Okay.
Nice. So, Gretchen, what refills your creative well?
I wasn't joking about the pool float. I literally like that is the only way I can truly relax. And we don't have a pool, so
Uh-oh.
we just go to the community center, and it is the most it's a lap pool that they just pull the strip up, and they let me take my little. I do a little ring. I had one of those little ring floats you pop up, and then it broke. And so I just get a pool noodle and I have a pool sling, and
Mhm.
yeah, I just float out there. And also, I very much, being in nature. So, going for walks, biking. When I ran, I don't really run anymore. I want to, but I don't. I'm just lazy. But yeah, so being outside, out in nature too, really, I got a lot of inspiration running when I was doing the long distance running and like I said, walking, hiking, just being outside.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I need to get back outside a little bit more than I have this few years, so I definitely understand that. So, there's something about being outside with leaves crunching under your feet and just letting your mind clear that
yeah.
definitely starts fueling your
No, no,
creative
no. Not
juices.
leaves crunching into feet. Laying
It's
in the hammock reading a book.
well, with
You
me, that's the one thing I don't miss. I love being in Tucson. It's my happy place. But the one thing I miss about being in the mountains is I used to walk in my neighborhood, and it was a very large neighborhood that didn't get completely built out. And
Mhm.
then plus I would go running along the country road out there, and I live in a more urban area now. It's still we're on the edge of the suburbs, so there's still some
Mhm.
open land. There's a horse crossing sign like a quarter mile from my house.
Nice.
And some little mini
Awesome.
multi-acre properties. We're in a neighborhood. But that is the one thing I kind of miss is that I definitely liked about living in the smaller town was the
Mhm.
open, especially my neighborhood. I really loved walking and running in my
Mm-hmm.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I like being outside. I love going out. I like night walks, and seeing the stars. But I also
Mhm.
realized I was probably putting myself in danger when my sister found a bear scat and mountain lion track
Oh my.
in my neighborhood.
Well,
Oh.
you
I
just
was like
you
probably,
just need
yeah. And then we have coyotes that run through our neighborhood. We have bobcats, and I'm pretty sure I actually saw a mountain lion that run through my neighborhood, which is, like I said, in suburbia.
Well, the
well,
And
my
the
it's
coyotes and bobcats aren't a problem. They're scared of people. The
yeah,
mountain lions and the bears, on the other hand.
yeah, no bears down
Yeah.
here, but we do have mountain lions. We're fairly close to the Catalina foothills. I live a little farther from that, but it's possible. It's probably was probably not a mountain lion, but it could have been. It was enough to make me like, okay, I may not. Well, and also
uh,
too, we have snakes with rattles. That
yeah.
Ugh.
yeah,
We have
there's
Yeah.
rattlesnakes in Kansas as well. So what you need,
yeah,
with my other job, besides what I do full time, being in firearms industry, we need to just set you up with a good old 9 millimeter. We can get you a sig and put some hollow points in there, and you won't have to worry so much about the mountain lions and the bears.
good
It's
point.
true.
But yeah, I don't know. I have to have good aim with um my um living in a highly
Oh yeah,
populated area.
very much so. But
But I joke. I said there's two things that I won't discuss publicly. I am a life member of the NRA, but there's two things I don't discuss publicly, and that one is whether or not I own firearms and what kind of underwear I wear.
You do know this is going
Uh,
out to the internet, right?
and the life membership was actually gifted to me. So, like I said,
Uh-huh.
I that is those are the two things I will not publicly disclose.
Until now.
well, she didn't
No, I
tell us
did not
what she
disclose. I
armed.
did not say whether or not I own a firearm, and you don't know what kind of underwear I'm wearing.
That's true.
Just suffice it that I am.
Probably better than not, but
Moving right along.
See, I needed an Eris moving right along. Queued that one up.
Have we answered all the questions yet?
um let's do one or two more, and then we'll see what happens next.
Mm.
Aaron?
Oh, okay. Do you listen to music when you're writing? And if so, what kind?
Sometimes I actually find that I do like it, and I am a big fan of movie soundtracks.
Yes.
So I very much Michael Giacchino is probably my favorite. Just I'm a huge
Mhm.
Lost fan, and so really got into his. And then Hans Zimmer, John Williams. But there's an Easter egg in my another one of my short stories that is actually a kind of perennial bestseller. I say that in quotes because it's actually a free one, and it's a free anthology. It was through the Fellowship of Fantasy, H.L. Burke. And it's called Being Seen. It's the one I was talking about, the invisible character. There is an Easter egg with Michael Giacchino in it. So
Nice.
read
Nice.
that story and find out. But yeah,
Okay.
and specifically the Lost.
Mhm.
There's a little Easter egg in there. If you know, you know. So
Mhm. Yeah, I drive a rideshare for my full-time job, and my playlist that I typically run to is about 60 hours long, and I like to say it's about 80% soundtracks, and of that, probably 50%, 60% is Star Wars. And there's a
nice.
ton of Michael Giacchino. If it was Star Wars, if it was Avengers, I've got a bunch of other stuff, just little things that I like the Martian soundtrack and stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of good soundtrack
Need to add the
people right now.
soundtrack from Tron Legacy to that.
I haven't seen the movie,
Oh, the
so
I
soundtrack is awesome.
I bet
And
it is.
it's an awesome soundtrack all on its own, and it perfectly fits in with the theme of the movie and everything too.
I might throw that in there just to see, because I need to get rid of Thor, the third Thor movie, because it's just too 80s.
Oh. Oh, a
What's
little
wrong with
segue to
that?
that. When I am writing in
It's
my
just
heart project, it takes place in the early 90s.
Okay.
And so I actually listen to I have a playlist that's it's the working title of the story was Acid. It's
mhm,
called the Acid Soundtrack, and it is all variety of
mhm.
80s and 70s, 80s, 90s music. And I actually set it so that nothing was actually post like the start date of that story or the end date of that story, so that it would
Yeah.
have been music they would
Oh,
have listened
very
to.
neat.
Yeah,
That's neat.
Very
and
Yeah.
cool.
I'm a big Billy Joel fan. That was actually even a meme before there were memes of me in college. It became a thing. And then I'm also a big fan of Jimmy Buffett, the late great Jimmy Buffett. I am both
Yep.
a parrot head and a parakeet, being that my parents are Jimmy Buffett fans too. So I'm a parakeet, and then parrot heads being his fans. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Nice.
and I've seen both in concert. I got to see Jimmy Buffett in concert with my husband, and I actually went with my parents to see Billy Joel. That was a big thing. It was really neat.
That's neat. Yeah.
It'd actually be a really cool concert to see,
It
That
was
is.
amazing. I saw it in 2017, so he was like 68 years old. He just had a kid. I mean, because
Yeah, they do
rock
that.
stars do what rock stars do. Um,
Oh,
it
yes.
was amazing. I mean, I laughed, I cried, I screamed. It was just so good.
Mhm.
But yeah.
I
Very cool.
laughed, I cried, it moved me, Bob.
Mhm.
So,
All right. So
um,
minor rabbit trail. I understand going to be able to go see your favorite artist in concert. Yeah, that sounds really cool and all. The thing I don't get about concerts is like, okay, I'm here to see this great artist, whatever. I'm here to listen to them scream. I'm not at this concert to hear a million people going, ah! Shut up! I'm trying to listen to this person.
Well, fortunately, Billy
yes.
Joel is not one that has, it's pretty tame. It's like I was actually probably, being middle aged, I was probably middle aged at the concert. I mean, I was definitely not the youngest person there, but definitely not the oldest. I mean,
Yeah.
even obviously I had my parents there, but yeah,
Mhm. Very cool.
it was, yeah, it was pretty tame. So,
Very nice. So,
Very nice.
Gretchen, where can we go to learn more about you and your body of work?
so I'm Gretchen E K Engel. So GretChenEK, and then Engel's ENGEL, all one word. on all the socials. So,
Okay.
and I don't hang out on X much. I do a little bit on Instagram, Facebook, and then I also have a Facebook. I'm honestly mostly on my Facebook personal one, which is not Gretchen E K Engel. But for those who don't know me personally, I'd say Gretchen E K Engel on Instagram is where I am the most. I'm trying to get on there more often. I have a YouTube channel as well, but I haven't posted recently.
So that's
So
homework for all the
yeah, like I said,
watchers is try and find
I've had
Gretchen's
to kind
secret
of,
Facebook page.
yeah, I've kind of had to, put the writing pen in the pencil cup, as I'm in my band mom era and focusing on my career and my kids, and specifically my daughter, in marching band and stuff that I'm pretty
Of
much
course.
working concessions, or going to competitions, especially now we're done now for the season, but then indoor percussion starts and
Mm-hmm.
Of
it's
course.
a,
Yep.
yeah,
You
so
probably
we're,
mentioned this already, but out of sheer curiosity, what instrument does she play?
she's so she plays clarinet is her band instrument. She does wind ensemble, but she's actually a
Okay.
drum major, so she
Very
doesn't
cool.
play. And then indoor percussion, she's a synth player, and piano, she will say that is her main instrument. She's played since she was 6, with a year hiatus, so about 9 years. And one of my dear my like one of my best friends was her piano teacher for years, and then she's
Awesome.
that's her instrument. So
Yeah, my wife played percussion in high school. And fun fact: piano is a percussion instrument.
it
It is.
is, yes. And
Yes.
she's very much she's like, yeah, it is. And yeah, of course they do a synth. It's synthesizer, but
Yep.
it's still that's what she has too. She has electric piano.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Was a piano player in college too, so I definitely
Very
understand.
cool.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
still plunk around when I feel like it.
She got that from my husband who played saxophone and he was in a very large high school band. It was very
Hmm.
competitive. And so we were all very excited to
Yeah.
be band parents. I was football mom with my son. And he's a college student. He hung up the cleats. He was, for a small high school he could play. He's not
Hmm.
built to play uh ball
Hmm.
regular, so he's focused on academics. But
Yep.
Of
I was a
course.
drama geek. I did theater, and
Mhm.
Gee,
I
really?
was
I would never
completely
have
not
guessed that.
musical.
See, that's where um same, Gretchen, same.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, no, I like laugh that people like public speaking is like a phobia. I'm like, bring it on. I'm like, I will give me a microphone. I will stand up there and talk. Not a problem.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
yeah, that's
I
yeah.
was pretty introverted when I decided to start this podcast, and it's like, well, like, you can get behind a camera and still do this, and you don't have to really be in front of people. But it definitely has made me more confident being in front of people when I've had to jump in. It doesn't
Yeah.
bother me
Oh,
now.
people.
So
Yeah.
we know what you think about people. Aaron. The IT crowd quote gets floated around a lot in our private
Really?
channel.
No.
Yeah,
Never.
Aaron is the IT/writer Venn diagram.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Yes. Uh,
Yep. Yep.
so,
So,
well, I think that's about it. But it was really good to have you on, Gretchen, and we're definitely going to do this again
Cool.
because you are our super fan, and you know we love having you as part of our family.
Well, thank you
So,
for having me. It's been exciting, and
Hmm.
again, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for bearing with me as I
Nearly
I don't know. I
died.
think there's somewhere around here's my lung.
you're
I'm gonna
fine.
go
It
pick that
happens.
up and put it
It
back in. And
Yeah, it happens to all of us. So,
yeah,
oh,
so
so Josh, who do we have up next on the show?
Another person.
Yes, this is true.
so we are going to have Carrie Neitz on next Saturday, actually, at about the same time. And so look forward to that. We are still trying to nail down a time that will work to have Morgan Bussey on to discuss her uh, Viking inspired project.
Okay.
We're gonna need some chloroform and a sack.
I think that might actually be what needs to happen. So,
Um, and look forward to all sorts of others coming up in 2025.
And then, so this should go out on our audio feed, depending on if I get it downloaded either Monday or November 25th. So right before Thanksgiving for all your Thanksgiving travel plans. Be sure to check us out if you're listening on the audio feed. You can check us out live when we do our streams on twitch.tv/LDK_podcast. And in the show notes, I will be putting a link if you want to join our Discord channel. We do have a couple of listener special channels. And so if you want to hop in and make suggestions on who you would like to see on the show, or just ask questions of our upcoming guests, that would be a great way to chime in. So I will be putting that link in the show notes. So yeah. So we'll look forward to talking to Carrie next time on the show. And otherwise, we will catch you guys next time.
Yeah.
See
Thanks
you
again,
later.
Gretchen, and see you later.